Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I will share with you some tactical analysis over on the Bitcoin charts, as last week we saw Bitcoin's price pump and then dump after the ETF news had broke. Bitcoin's price pumped but then broke itself right back down into the trading range it had been trading in for the past few weeks. And right now, actually, it looks like Bitcoin could be in danger of dumping even further. So, with that being said, let's jump right to the charts. And we'll start over here on the weekly candles just briefly to take a look at the EMA ribbon. Right now, Bitcoin's price for the last few weeks, it broke down below the ribbon, which is bearish. And the last 2 weeks, Bitcoin's price has attempted to get back above. It rejected right at the ribbon on the wick of this candle. Last week's candle obviously did pump. However, you see a whole lot of sell pressure with that big wick towards the top side. And we essentially have a couple doji candles for the past couple weeks, which does indicate indecision. And so right now, Bitcoin's price is for the most part bearish on the weekly chart for certain, mainly due to the fact that it's below this EMA ribbon. However, the ribbon is still green and blues towards the top and reds and yellows towards the bottom. Now, if this ribbon flips or begins to flip, then that would be very bearish, and we could then see Bitcoin's price start to dump even lower. And lower could look like something down back into this area where we see Bitcoin did find support before pushing up, and that zone would be somewhere around 21,800, maybe 21,500. So, with that in mind, let's jump to the daily candles. Now, the daily candles clearly show the pump that the news of the ETF possibility broke. However, you can see Bitcoin's price then broke down shortly after the news, which is not uncommon. You get a pump on news and you get a dump after the news. And that's essentially what Bitcoin did. It pumped and then dumped. And right now, it's back in that zone that it was consolidating in over the last few weeks. And in fact, if we drop in our drawing tools, we've been watching a pennant pattern over the last few weeks, ever since Bitcoin broke down below this 29,000 level and sold off to around 25,000. And as I had mentioned in previous videos, this pattern is typically a bearish pattern. However, we did get the breakout towards the top side, but it appears to have just been a fake out, as Bitcoin's price has returned right back into this pennant. And right now, Bitcoin's price is getting squeezed into the tip of the pennant. In fact, it's kind of tiptoeing along the bottom trend line. And if we get that breakdown below this lower trend line, our target would be down here for this pattern. And it may be no surprise, that target, 21.5. So what we just talked about on the weekly chart, if Bitcoin's price were to actually dump, could dump down to 21.5 based on previous support, that would line up almost exactly with this target here of 21.5 of the breakdown of this pennant pattern. And so with that in mind, let's drop in the Recon EMA ribbon, and we can see again, ever since this breakdown of around 29,000, the EMA ribbon essentially flipped to bearish with your reds and yellows on top and your greens and blues on the bottom. And in fact, the ribbon had recently acted as resistance on this pump right up to the top of the ribbon. In fact, is where the Bitcoin price wicked up to. However, as it often does, the EMA ribbon is a good indication of resistance, and you can see the price since dumped. And so what we could be looking at is something similar to where we see Bitcoin's price dump down, break out above the ribbon like it did back here, only to dump and then run into resistance before much later on breaking out towards newer highs. That could be the pattern that is setting up over here. We could see Bitcoin's price dump and then pump up to some higher highs. But keep in mind, there is a ton of resistance towards the top side. And so with that being said, let's look at some resistance and some support levels. And to do that, we'll get rid of the EMA ribbon and we'll drop in the recon auto fib retracement levels, which typically act as support and resistance levels. And the first level I see that the bulls are going to have trouble with is really the 26,000 to 25,000 level. The 786 Fibonacci is coming in at 26.3. So really you have a zone between 26 and 25, which is towards the top of these wicks and candles back here. And as you can see, on multiple occasions, Bitcoin wicked right into that 786 level on these candles. So very valid level of resistance for the bulls. Now, if somehow the bulls can get the price above the 786 level, their next target would be the 618, which puts it at 27.5. After 27.5, then the bulls would have their sights set for the 50%, which is coming in around 28.3. And you can see this wick did kind of wick right up into that 50% fib level. And something to note, that level back here was a level of support previously, and a lot of times prior levels of support can turn into resistance. And on the flip side, prior levels of resistance can flip into support. However, the bulls didn't get the support of the 786 on this sell-off. The price crushed right down through that, so that 786 did not actually turn into support, which is what I would have liked to have seen. Now, the final line that the bulls really need to get the price above before I really feel bullish about Bitcoin's price would be the 29,000 level, which is where it dumped from after this long consolidation. So until the bulls really get the price above 29,000, or maybe even more importantly, the 236 level, which comes in just above 30,000, which would be above these wicks here, Bitcoin's price is really stuck in a bearish pattern. And with that being said, if the bears can push Bitcoin's price down below this lower trend line, then the target for this pattern would be all the way back down here around 21.5, like we mentioned. However, the first level of support would be coming in here around 25,000, but a break of 25,000, more than likely there's going to be some blood in the streets, and we're going to see Bitcoin's price sell off perhaps to the 1272, which is 23,000. That would be the first level of support. After that, it's kind of open air to the 21.5, or even all the way down to the 1618, which would put it at 20,500. So right now, other than this fake out breakout based purely on news, Bitcoin's price returned right back to where it was after that breakout. Bitcoin's price still looks very bearish. And so there is definitely a possibility of a breakdown in Bitcoin's price. The question is, how low will it go? And with that being said, I think that's enough jaw-jacking for this video. If there's any major changes in Bitcoin's price, I will do an update video. So now would be a good time to shoot that subscribe button. If you like this video, do me a favor, spike a like. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comments section down below. And until next time, remember, never send your money into battle without first doing your recon. See you in the next video.